Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I'm going to talk a little bit about, taking your business and your personal life to the next level with our next guest, Hal Elrod. And he is an international success coach, best-selling author, and an ultra-marathon runner. I tell you, this guy does quite a bit, and he does quite a bit to help individuals turn their lives around. In fact, he's got a program that is designed to turn people's lives around in 24 hours. And I want to welcome you to the program, sir.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
You bet. Kind of give us a little bit of information about yourself. Give us your elevator speech, if you will.
Elevator speech. Well, I think that what's always worth mentioning, when I was 20 years old, I was hit head-on by a drunk driver on the freeway at 70 miles an hour. I was found dead at the scene and told I would never walk again. And that was really the defining moment in my life when I decided that I really wanted to make something of my life and impact other people. And so since then, as you kind of mentioned, I've written a couple of best-selling books. I'm an international speaker. I speak at corporations and schools, and really just any way that I can, whether it's through my writing, speaking, or coaching, it's to help people create the lives that we all really want, and very few of us actually get to live.
Yeah, no question about it. Very interesting. So, when was that accident? That life-changing accident?
It was 1999, December 3rd, 1999. I was 20 years old.
Wow, that's incredible. And physically, any lingering effects?
I can't straighten my left arm all the way. I got a 14-inch titanium rod in my leg, plates in my arm, my elbow, plates in my eye. But for the most part, I'm in better shape than I was when the accident happened.
Although traveling in the airport's got to be a challenge.
It actually, I guess, I don't know if it's the titanium or what, but it does not go off the metal detectors, so I'm actually good there.
That makes me nervous.
Yeah, that's a good. That's I never thought of it that way. That's a good point. Yeah. What else can you make out of titanium, right?
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, moving right along. Call TSA. Hurry up. But talk about a little bit about what you try to do. 24 hours doesn't seem like a lot of time to transform someone's life.
Well, it's when we change the way that we look at our life, and we change the way that we look at the life that we're living now, and when we start to get clarity on what we want for our life and what we need to do to create it, our life changes. And it doesn't mean that your bank account balance changes in 24 hours. It means that the way that you feel about your life and your future and the commitment that, the commitment that you make to make changes, that's when your life changes, right? It's that, as Tony Robbins says, our moments of decision is what shapes our destiny. And so, for me, I had that moment in the hospital when I decided that I wasn't going to feel sorry for myself. I wasn't going to wish these horrible circumstances didn't happen, but I was going to embrace my reality, accept it for what it was, and I was going to make the decisions to move forward. And then, 8 years later, the economy crashed, my business failed, I lost my house, and made the same thing, same decision, that defining moment that I'm going to become the person that I need to be to turn my life around and create the changes that I want. And that's how you can change yourself and really start the path to change your life in literally less than 24 hours, in a matter of minutes when you make those decisions. Yeah,
that's interesting. Well, the reality is that we cannot control things that happen to us often. Circumstances are often beyond our control, but our interpretation of them is entirely in our control.
It's funny. You're the first. I often say that, and it's our interpretation and our response. You're the only other person I've heard say that. So I resonate with that for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I don't think people quite get. I've come to believe with my relationship with God that, for example, those people in my life that drive me crazy, that I can't get them out of my life, I think they're there to change my character. There's something about my own personality or character that I need to change. I got a challenge going on, with a business. It's a learning moment. I just got to figure out what that learning opportunity is for me. And, when you start looking at things from that paradigm, you start moving in the right direction. You're continuously moving in the right direction. And so instead of those terrible circumstances that hit you becoming a detour, they become a building block.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, well, that's cool. And so is that a lot of your book, is how to change your thoughts about the way you look at things? Is that a big emphasis of the book? Or tell us more about what it's about.
Yeah, my first book is more about that, more about your changing your thoughts and the way you look at your life. My first book's called Taking Life Head On, and that was centered around my accident and how I became a Hall of Fame business achiever, kind of the journey from one point to the other, and the lessons that I learned along the way. And that was a lot about changing the way you look at life. Well, my new book is much more action oriented, and it's much more about changing your life in real time. And it's called The Miracle Morning. And the premise of the book is the idea that, we all know we should work on ourselves. We know we should wake up early. We've heard these things before. But what I realized is that the single most important thing that I could do, and by the way, I realized this when I was in that depression where I had lost my business and lost my house and, it would really hit my rock bottom at that point. What I realized is that the single most important thing I could do was wake up an hour earlier to dedicate time to my personal development so that I could become the person that I needed to be to create the wealth and the health and the happiness and everything else that I wanted and turn my life around. And really, once I made that decision that I'm going to wake up an hour earlier, I clarified a routine, I wrote it down, and I couldn't wait to try it. And the next morning, by 6 a.m., I got up at 5, which I'm not a morning person, or at least I wasn't. By 6 a.m., I had the best day of my, in the previous 6 months of depression and a spiral downward. And it realized, wow, I can give myself this gift every single morning. And it's hard to have a bad day if you have an amazing morning.
Yeah, it really is. It does kind of define your day. Although when parts of your day go bad, another thing people don't seem to realize, I think people kind of operate under this idea that we work into lock time frames. So we're stuck in this 24 hours, and this 24 hours is bad because of this. But the reality is you can reboot your day anytime you want.
Yeah, no, I love that, and that's what it was for me. Is like I said, my bank account balance didn't change overnight. My debt, losing my house, none of that. Just I couldn't snap my fingers and change it. But the way I felt every day, at the end of the day, it used to be going to bed to escape my reality and then waking up to face it again. That was my life, and I think a lot of people live that way. And now it was going to bed excited that I got to wake up in the morning and do my morning routine, which eventually, within 2 months, it had transformed my life so quickly. I had doubled my income. It started, a path back to success. That's why I started calling it the Miracle Morning. That wasn't didn't have a title at first. It was just my hour of personal development. But like you said, it was immediately where I got to hit the reset button every night before bed and have anticipation for waking up in the morning, not to my problems, but to my special time, that time I gave to myself.
Yeah. Is there anything you do at the end of the day? Because I like to, start my day with devotional type reading. That's how I begin my day every morning. I work on my goals, a little bit, before I do anything else every single morning. And then I end my day with gratitude prayer and, some reading, more spiritual type reading. Tell me about how you bookend your day, if you will.
Yeah, so similar. Focusing on, I usually do some reading, some gratitude, etc. And always close with a quick prayer. One of the most important things that I do at the end of my day, though, is it's my pre-morning routine. So I always say that a great morning starts the night before. And there's a few things that I do. Number one is my alarm clock is set across the room so that when the snooze button is presented to me in the morning, I'm not still laying in bed deciding whether or not I'm going to hit it. I get out of bed to turn off the alarm, and then I go straight into wash my face, brush my teeth, and it's that much easier to overcome, what I call being a snoozeaholic, right? Which,
right.
By the way, when you hit the snooze button, you're starting the day with procrastination.
Right.
Another thing I do, though, is I fill up a glass of water the night before, and I have it sitting on the bathroom counter or on my nightstand. Because one thing people don't realize is that in the morning, we're dehydrated. We're 6 to 8 hours without any water. And most people go straight to coffee, which is a diuretic. It's even worse. So before you have your cup of coffee, make sure the first thing you do in the morning is down a full glass of water. Drink a full glass of water, rehydrate so you feel awake and you feel energized. And then I actually set my intention the night before that no matter how many hours of sleep I'm getting, my body is going to respond very well, and I'm going to wake up feeling refreshed and energized. And I find that last thought before bed is usually our first thought in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Yeah, people need to do that. They need to, another big thing that I like to think in terms of is that, we are either victims or owners. And so when things happen that we don't like, we need to be big about claiming as much as that as humanly possible, because that which we cannot claim ownership of, we become victims to. And there's no weaker position than victimhood, is there?
No, I agree. I always say that the moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment that you have the power to change anything in your life. And, my accident is what taught me that.
Yep. No question about it. No question about it. Great interview, great segment. Enjoyed spending time with you. How do people get more information about your book, Hal?
Well, if you want to, of course, I'd love for you to buy the book. You can get it on Amazon. But if you're not ready to buy it, if you want to, dip your toe in the water, you can actually go get what I call the Miracle Morning Crash Course for free at miraclemorning.com. And that is, you're going to get 2 free chapters of the book. You're going to get a 15-minute, motivational Miracle Morning training video, and you're going to get a 60-minute audio all sent to your email address. Just go to miraclemorning.com. And then if you like the first 2 chapters, of course, you can go to amazon.com and pick up the book. But it's doing really well, and we've got 145-star reviews on Amazon. I think it's pretty amazing.
Very good. Thanks so much for being with us, Hal Elrod. He's an author, he's a marathoner, and really a great story. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You bet. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you the best content here. It shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter.